Welcome to Now Interactives, a global sourcing, manufacturing, and distribution company. I'm Freitas, Director of Operations and the newest member of the team. Wait, what? We have a new team member in Turkey? Oh my god, we've been growing so fast. Okay, let me start again. I'm Freitas, one of the newest member of the team. A very important part of the supply chain is the logistics, and we wanted to share about the current situation with our Now Interactives network, as we have been facing a lot of issues in the past 3 years. For domestic transportation, which is basically performed by trucks, the issue began way before the pandemic. What is the main resource of operating a truck? The truck itself, of course, and the driver. And in the US, we have been facing a shortage of drivers year after year. The experienced truck drivers are retiring, and most of the young people are not interested in starting this profession, as they are required to do long trips and stay away from their family for several days. According to the Transportation Department, roughly 300,000 truck drivers leave the profession every year, and the COVID-19 pandemic only made the driver shortage worse because the training programs were either closed or limited their operations. The industry in 2021 was short a record of 80,000 drivers according to the American Trucking Association. So imagine, it's 80,000 less truck drivers that we need on the roads to fulfill our domestic transportation needs. Besides that, the pandemic also increased the e-commerce trade. Everybody was buying online, and this is a culture that came to stay. That makes an already saturated sector even more overloaded. The warehouses are full with packages in transit and the trucks with high capacity. I'm pretty sure you also may have heard about the port congestions. For the truck containers movement, the port congestions made the efficiency go down, showing a shortage of trucks in the area too, and a huge increase in the price. Before the congestion started, the truckers could go to the ports like 3 or 4 times a day, pick up and deliver containers, and nowadays with the port congestions and the huge lines, they can just go 1 or 2 times only. And on the top of that, the value of the fuel has been increasing, which impacts, of course, the cost of the diesel. Now, talking about containers, let's do an overview on the international logistics points. The good news is that it's getting better rather than worse, and the pricing is decreasing, but still far from normal. The most affected ports were the ones in the West Coast, which concentrates most of the Asia imports. There were hundreds of vessels waiting on the berth to operate, and a transit time from China to the US that used to be about 25 days became more than 40 days. We saw little by little that these companies were distributing their imports destinations also along the Gulf and the East Coast ports in order to reduce the congestion that was highly concentrated in the West. Another problem that the congestion made more clear was that the US ports needed to invest a lot more in technology. The ports in China and Europe are much more automated, and they can load a vessel within a day. In the US, the vessel usually takes 3 to 4 days to be unloaded and loaded. Geographically, the ports are limited, so now they started to invest more in infrastructure, technology, and additional land, either in their own ports or outside, where they can store extra containers and free up some space. On the international air freight, we can see capacity increasing again, and the flights that were cancelled during the pandemic are reopening, which is a very good news to the sector. So, the key is always to keep monitoring the market and the situation. Work with the right and trustable partners, and here at Now Interactives, transparency will always be priority. And remember, the future of supply chain is now.